Brendan Taylor here at True School Sports. With my main man, Derik Santos.
How you doing?
How you doing, man? We're at the Boca Powell. I've never been here before. It's the Boca Powell. It's an interesting setup here.
Yeah, we got great support from the community here, and I'm very fortunate to have a partnership with the Boca Powell. As you can see, we're in the middle of renovations. It's been a long time since we had renovated, and now it's just, we don't want to poof it up too much, but it looks much nicer now, and just a little bit cleaner now for all the kids and the other adult athletes that we have.
Yeah, you want to clean it up, but you don't want to quite make it like the Delray Beach Boxing Club. It's almost too clean there.
Well, it's two different dynamics. I work for Delray also.
Yeah.
And Delray is a great gym. Aesthetically, it's a great gym. For working out, they have everything there. They have sauna, they have showers, they have great coaches there. You know, they have all kinds of different types of classes you take. You know, they have coaches that know kickboxing, they have coaches that do just, physical activity. You know, I'm the head technical boxing guy there, and ambassador for them. It's a really nice, different atmosphere there. They also have that area where you can have a juice drink or a real drink or
You got that bar in the back.
Yeah.
For Cornerman Social.
Yeah, so that's really nice, a really nice different dynamic. This is more for the competitive. This gym is more for the competitive boxer.
Okay. I know a lot of fighters train here too. Like right now we got Disco over there in the ring, shadow boxing.
Yes, Ivan Disco, he's fighting July the 12th at the Hard Rock. Hopefully we'll keep that undefeated streak going.
Yeah, I know you got Algieri's been here before, Brian Jennings.
Yeah, Chris Algieri's trained here before, Brian Jennings has trained here before. As a matter of fact, Chris Algieri was kind enough to bless me with his book the other day. He was just here the other day.
Yeah, Chris, very nice guy.
Yeah,
he gave me a book too, actually.
Yeah, so he came in and we spoke for a while. Me and Chris have a really good friendship, and when he's here, I help him with his boxing. And we talk. He's got a great team in New York when he was here, and everybody else is there, Keith Trimble. I'm happy to be able to input advice here and there wherever I can to help him in his career.
Okay. You also have a really good young fighter coming out this gym, Lawrence BT, the other BT. But he's a good fighter. You were just telling me he signed with Terrence Crawford. I didn't even know that. But.
Yeah, he signed with Bomac and Terrence Crawford, and he had his first fight under them at the Garden under Crawford Khan. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he has another fight coming up towards the end of August.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not privy to all that information. But when he's not in camp with them, he'll be found here.
He's here, yeah. Okay. So shout out to Lawrence Newton, doing big things in boxing.
Yeah, he's to us, he's family. He's a kid I've known since he was a little kid. I've seen him, develop all the way into a top amateur, into a pro. Even to a point where I coached him for most of his 11 first fights until he signed with them, which we all understand. Sometimes you get a new management, new team, they want you to train with their fighters and whatnot. And,
yeah, it happens.
With that, I just wish him blessings. Because again, if it would have been somebody else who maybe I wasn't close to, then I might have been upset as a coach. But with him, I just wanted to see the best for him. So.
Okay.
The blessings, and we're here always for him when he needs us.
Absolutely. I like that approach. It's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't train everybody, and you just be a good person. You do good things, and it comes, man. Boxing is cyclical. There's times where I thought, I'm gonna be down and out, but I just keep doing what I say. Just keep doing the right thing to myself, and it's come around whether you want to believe in karma or not. I've been treated well by people, and I don't normally go recruiting fighters. By word of mouth, they come and end up here.
The best way.
And I think that's kind of just because I'm real. There's a difference. It's just I think they figure out that you want guys with experience, and you want guys, but you also want a guy that cares and has your best interest as a fighter, is going to give you good advice, either way, apart from what you really need, which is good eyes.
And skills as well.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I know you you've been working with Sullivan Barrera for a number of years. He's had his fight against Jesse Hart. Well, what happened? What happened that night? Like, why do you think he struggled that night?
Well, it was a different, interesting camp. Sullivan, before he got into camp, had some nagging injuries and things. And when we got into camp, he was okay, but it wasn't like his normal camps in the past. He started to turn the corner towards the later end of the camp. I mean, we had some concerns in the middle of the camp, but he started to turn the corner. And then, we had a great team. Melissa Ruiz filled the rule, did his physical. Melissa Ruiz did his diet. His manager, Luis Molina, is absolutely a great manager. He gets things. He's not one of those guys he's not an uber rich guy, but he's not one of the guys that will just sit on the sideline and let you figure it out. If you need something, he wants to put you in position to win. So that means that he needs to connect the dots and get you this and get you that. Or,
he's a resourceful guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's not one of these guys that's going to spoil you and pay for your living, but whatever you need for training, if it makes sense, he'll go out and get it done.
Okay.
And and he cares about the fighter too. So there's only a small percentage of managers like that. There's some of them just sign fighters and like they'll pop in once in a blue moon. They won't even check in. It's kind of like weird how they do that, but to each his own. He's one of those guys that he doesn't mess with the trainer, but he does watch over what's going on. He wants to know. He keeps communication. He wants to say, hey, how's the fighter doing? And so that's good. I think that's always really good to have a manager like that, and he's done a really good job.
Well, at least he's not like one of those parasite managers. Guys. Some of these managers, they just suck the life out of the fighters, and they don't really try to help them aside from them just saying yes to no for fights.
No, he definitely will give you the best opportunity. He'll also say, that fight doesn't make sense. He's not really caring about the check per se. Of course, he's doing the job and he gets his percentage for doing his job. But I've heard him countless of times say, I'm not going to make a living off of this. He has his own business or he makes a living off of it. And if it doesn't make sense, he goes, why would I put a fighter into a fight like that?
Yeah.
It's not a good fight for him. So he wants to do well. He wants to win, which is good, competitive, more so than he wants to just set a fighter up and get a check out of it.
Okay. Yeah, well, hopefully Sullivan Barrera continues to have a successful career.
Yeah, well, we'll see what's happening. He's getting it towards the end of his career too. And he's 37 years old, and getting back to that night, some fighters just feel good, and he was very complimentary of the entire team. He just said he couldn't get going. He just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
When the fight started, and it never changed. And so, no disrespect to Jesse Hart, but I still think that Sullivan on the right night beats Jesse Hart all day.
Okay. Yeah, because Jesse, I felt like even when Jesse was winning, his work was a bit sloppy. The only punches he really was landing cleanly and consistently was his right hand. Right hand is money, but everything else is
well, even then, I feel like I think a lot of trainers say is he didn't go for it. That might have been one of the worst showings that Sullivan had maybe his whole career, right? Because he's always been there. He's always showed up. He's always been, fighting tough. And that was probably his most off night. And the whole time, Hart didn't go for it. Didn't try to say, all right, I'm going to push the issue and maybe I can stop this guy. He was very conservative the whole time, which goes to show the level of respect he also had for Sullivan as a fighter, and saying, well, he didn't want to take any chances.
He got caught with a couple left hooks too. I remember Sullivan had his legs wobbling a couple times in the second or third round.
Yeah, it was in the third round. He caught him in the corner, and little here, little there, but not enough from our side. There's nothing more I can really say about that. Again, Jesse Hart did what he needed to do, but I think if you look at Sullivan's fights, we've beaten guys that are better than Jesse. So it's just one of those things where he just couldn't get going. Now, that said, hey, all good to Jesse Hart, and wish him the best. I personally think he should stay at 68. I don't think he's going to go beat any top 175.
Me neither, honestly. But we wish him the best.
Yeah.
I wanted to just get your thoughts on just some hot topics in boxing because you have very good insight into the boxing. We'll start with the heavyweights. What did you make of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr. and how that unfolded?
Well, first of all, a lot of people say that Andrew Ruiz Jr. He pulled up this major upset, and I think you have to really think about that. Was he the underdog? Yes. The man's 32-1, and he lost a fight against Joseph Parker for the title, the WBO title. That most of my peers said that if he would have pushed a little bit more, he would have won. It was kind of like he was doing just enough to lose, rather than that Joseph Parker was doing anything to him.
Yeah.
And so that fight kind of was like, and I don't know if Anthony Joshua took it lightly. I don't know, people's appearances. Famously, I'm not gonna say the name, but we had a fighter that was a young, very good prospect who was once asked to spar him and didn't know who he was. And he said, he sparred that fat guy. Okay. And then he came back and he laughs about it today because he said, he beat me from pillar to post. And I was like, who's this chunky guy beating me up,
Yeah.
And so, it goes to show you sometimes you can't go by looks. Ruiz has skill. I think the biggest thing was in that fight that once Ruiz got up and just kept putting combinations together.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Joshua not only not ever really been in that situation, he didn't know what to do with it. He seemed lost when he got hit with a couple shots, and it's like, why? He had a look of like, why is this guy still here?
Yeah.
And Ruiz did the right thing. When Joshua fired, he fired right back. He didn't try to. If that fight would have gone dancing around and I shouldn't say dancing around, I should say moving around.
Yeah.
And it becomes a footwork, just touch here, touch there, Joshua wins. But I don't know if it was Manny Robles' plan, his trainer, or it was just Ruiz's heart. But to their credit, when he got fired upon, he fired right back. And many times, that's when you can see if a fighter's never dealt with that, his will broke in that fight. You can see his will broke in the fight.
Yeah. I feel like his will broke almost when Andy Ruiz landed that first counter left hook on the temple, and then he got knocked down.
He says in fights, hey, look, I don't remember, the fight after. I had a fighter tell me one time in a fight that we won by unanimous decision, wiped out except for the one round that he said he got caught by a shot and he couldn't remember from X round to X round. It was like maybe 4 or 5 rounds he couldn't remember, and I was kind of looking at him inquisitively because he botched beautifully.
Yeah.
He was like, I remember you telling me this and that, but I don't even remember after that. I was still out of it, zoned out. Instinct took over. When you got good fighters, sometimes your instinct will take over, and that'll happen.
And you don't even retain what's really going on in the ring
right,
on the night.
Exactly. So, and Joshua is stating that now. So, obviously, that's the case. He never recovered from that first shot. In Ruiz's case, I'm so happy for Ruiz because, he's a guy that a lot of people, he's a really nice kid, first of all, to begin with. A nice professional, generally nice guy. Not all of them are.
Yeah.
And for him to sort of, the way he got the fight, the window opened up.
On short notice,
On short notice and everything, and then to be able to pull that off. And who couldn't feel, heartstrings when he said, hey, Mom, we're not going to have to struggle anymore. That's amazing, man. That feeling is just awesome.
It's like a movie script almost.
Yeah. I felt so good for him just to say that, hey, man, you know what? That's awesome. God bless him and his family.
Yeah. That story you told me about the one fighter you had who had sparred him and got beaten pillar to post. It's funny you say that because I interviewed Holyfield, and he said that Andy Ruiz is right there with some of the fastest hands he's ever been in the ring with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you look at him, it's almost like Babyface. The kid from North. I don't know if I know how to say his name right. Milwaukee?
Oh, Adam Karnacki. Yeah.
Karnacki. If you look at that kid, I remember, and I say this with all due respect, the very first time I saw him, I thought Baby Huey, like from the cartoon.
Yeah.
And then I saw him fight, and I said, shit, he's his rhythm. If you don't start with him first, he might not be the best defensive fighter, but he'll go and go and go like a machine. And he, any heavyweight can punch. These are big guys. win. And then you say to yourself, you know, this kid, if you don't stop that rhythm, he's going to be all over you.
Yeah.
He can fight. He can legitimately fight, you know.
Legitimate top 10 heavyweight, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, Joshua lost now. I know he has the rematch with Ruiz, but I wanted to ask you this because this is an interesting question to ask people these days. If you were to fight Deontay Wilder at any point, do you still think he could beat him, or who would you favor in that fight? You think Joshua is just so far gone?
No, I had to say though, man, the one thing about Deontay Wilder, it doesn't matter what you say about you don't see his skills, the overall skills improving. He's got freakish power. And when you got freakish power, you're in that fight to the last second of the bell.
He saw with Fury.
If it wasn't for that last knockdown, he loses that fight. But, that fight becomes a draw because the last night. Truth be told, if you ask me, even with the 2 knockdowns, I don't think Fury lost the fight.
Yeah.
If you do the math and you watch that fight, I don't think Fury lost the fight. That said, okay, they gave him the draw, and you always gotta worry about that. I mean, when he fought just now, Dominic Brazil.
Yeah.
As slow as Dominic Brazil was throwing that jab out there when he came out, I immediately looked at it and said, oh, he's getting knocked out right away. And it's just like, you have to be quick. You can't snap it. And sure enough, he put to sleep, man. You got to give Deontay Wilder credit. I mean, if you look at overall skills, maybe you say Tyson Fury is the best right now out there. But without a doubt, who's the best puncher?
Deontay Wilder. And that's in all boxing, I would say.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, so do you think Anthony Joshua would beat him, or Wilder? Who would you favor?
I think that maybe Joshua could box around him enough for a little bit, but I just think ultimately, especially after what we just saw, Tyson Fury, nobody thought he pulled an Undertaker move like from WWE. Nobody thought he was getting up on that.
I thought he was out,
and he pulled all his heart and his soul to get himself up and finish that fight. I just don't see it because after what I just saw, but maybe it's just because after what I just saw, But right now, I don't see Anthony Joshua getting him off the ground like that to come back into that fight, and I don't see him yet at enough skilled level with everything, with the feints. I mean, if you look at Fury, he boxed Wilder beautifully.
Yes.
The feints, the rhythm, the defense, everything was there. Truth be told, Anthony Joshua doesn't have that. He's big, he's strong, but he doesn't have that fluidity.
No. Okay. From a trainer standpoint, like if you could give Anthony Joshua some advice on what to improve on, what would you tell him technically?
Well, first of all, one of the things that I wonder with Anthony Joshua is because he's gotten so much other ancillary publicity and money from sponsorship. You sometimes wonder with a fighter. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure because I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
You sometimes wonder when a fighter gets all of that like he did so quickly, do they still have that hunger and that desire to go through the grind of what it is fighting? Because this is all a grind. It doesn't matter if you're a 105 fighter or a heavyweight. It's an amazing amount of grind to go through a camp, and they get in a fight and put on little gloves and get whacked around, knowing that you signed your life with this contract. You may have gotten so much, already up front.
Yeah.
That I just don't know. You have to have that fire, man. And I understand when people were saying they didn't see that, from him, from various ways he was, his body language, from the way he was talking, from the way he just didn't seem like, it's like, oh well, okay, But he's got all this other stuff now. People are thinking about it financially. Can he mentally get himself back and say, I want to be champion of the world? I want to do the grind. Sometimes when you're driving around in Bentley trucks and flying to Abu Dhabi in jets, it's hard to put yourself in that position again and get that drive behind you. And to me, that would be the biggest thing. If I was Anthony Joshua, he's got to be true to his heart and really find himself and say, do I really want to keep doing this? Or is it just about him and the check?
Yeah, the money and the status.
He already has money, and in part, that may ruin the desire,
Hopefully,
who's seen it with other fighters. Hopefully he can get the stuff together. Listen, I'm a fan of boxing. I don't have a horse in that race.
yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh yeah, you got your main Ivan Disco back
I don't
there.
have a horse in that race yet, but hopefully Ivan Disco will be in that mix in the future.
Okay, well that's kind of the perfect segue to Ivan Disco. You know, you're back working with Ivan Disco. He's fighting July the 12th at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
How is he progressing along here in camp, Ivan?
Very good, actually. I'm very happy with the communication between me and Ivan. Especially this camp more so than ever, has really gotten to be really good. Just on a personal level where we can understand each other more. I've always told my fighters, don't be afraid. It's not about, don't let the fighter control you. No fighter controls my plan, but the fighter can communicate with me.
Yeah.
The fighter can say, Coach, that combination isn't working out for me. You can't force that down the throat of a guy who doesn't have the ability to do a certain thing, right?
You're right, man. You're right.
Or that move is odd to me. Or what if we change that combination? Instead of throwing that punch there, I'll throw it here. And I tell fighters, don't be afraid to talk to me. Don't be afraid to say, well, what's your idea behind that? You know, or strategically, or I'll sit down with a fighter and watch film all day and be like, see, I did that, or he did this, or did the other. And I think this camp, for me and Ivan, we're starting to learn each other a little more. And now he's starting to see, that he can talk to me. And we can have a better understanding. With that, I'll also know how to better handle him as a coach. And how to better say, well, you know what? It doesn't work for you, this works for you. Every fighter is different. You can tell a fighter, I need you to find this particular combination I'm looking for, do this. I might tell somebody else directly, just do this. Or, don't do that. There's something I might tell him to do. Differently, I'll say this again, I've said it so many times. Every fighter is completely different mentally.
Yes.
Physically, their styles. You have to, it's just me. I've talked to myself.
Okay.
I've always said, I need to train each and every one of them individually. Yeah, you can do some bag drills or the conditioning drills the same, but I have to handle each one of them differently. I have to talk to them differently. And I think that's where some trainers get a mistake. Was successful one fighter, they just start teaching all the fighters the same
They have
way.
like a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, and that's, for lack of a better word, it's nonsense. These guys might even have the same physical ability, but their mindset is completely different. So how I get them from point A and B might be two different drives. It might be driving on 95, it might be driving on the turnpike. It's completely different.
Yeah. Okay. I know with Ivan, one criticism I've heard people have of him is that they say he has a very amateur style and that he's kind of straight up and down. Are you going to try to fix that, or is that he is what he is?
No. To address that, I get what they're saying. Ivan's still learning. He spent a lot of time in the amateur system, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
And he won a lot of fights and a lot of tournaments worldwide doing what he had to do for that system. But you don't take a fighter like Ivan Disco, who's very athletic, for a big man. I mean, this guy is as athletic as a basketball player. He can move, he can slip, defensively he's big,
Yeah.
He's got speed, he's got power. You don't take those things away from him and say, well, I want to see him fight like Evander Holyfield.
No,
I
he
want to
can't
see
do
him
that.
fight like,
Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe. That's ridiculous. But I think that's what happens, not only from fans, managerial standpoint,
Promoters.
from promoters. Everybody here in the United States, we have a set vision of what generally heavyweights more or less should look like. But what? Okay, if that's the case, then Deontay Wilder is completely different than that. You know what I mean? And look where he's at. In the past, you've had fighters who were completely awkward, the Ken Nortons of the world.
Or even like a guy like Chris Bird.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Bird, exactly. Just different. So you take those guys and say, all right, we're looking for a little bit of this, but we're not going to change your style. We're just going to try to adjust it so we can meet in the middle. I want to meet in the middle between what he was used to doing in an amateur set and a little tips with what he can do now. Here's another thing. People don't understand. The amateurs, like international, we were talking about this the other day. When you rap, you can't hit with a free hand. You can't hit inside like that. That's perfectly legal. If you got somebody who's been fighting like that their whole career, touch, in and out, touch, go. How do you expect them to turn around? They will not. It's hard for them to understand it because it's hard to tell somebody, hey, I've had 300 wins doing this. 1-2 slip right hand. And now you want them to do something completely different. So the name of the game there is patience. He's definitely super talented, and not only that, he's humble enough to understand. And I'm not speaking just of Ivan personally. I've had many conversations with him, to understand that he's learning. He's very intelligent. Like even if he does well or doesn't do well in a sparring, he'll come later and be like, when I did this, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? He watches other fighters and he'll be like, why do you think he did this move? What do you think that? So I really like that about him.
Detailed, very detailed.
Yeah, he's cerebral. However he's handling that, because I'm not in his brain, however he's handling that, he wants to know the decision-making process as to why a fighter does a move, why a fighter. And I believe that he's trying to incorporate it into his game. He's going to improve. First of all, he's not bad. He's good.
Yeah.
That saying, to what people more want to see, hey, Vladimir Klitschko didn't fight like a conventional heavyweight. Put his hands out there and needed a battalion. But they won and they got respect, right? And
yeah.
I know both of them here in the United States got a lot of respect.
Great heavyweights.
So it's funny how that has also its cyclical turn, because people will say, oh, what's this? Okay, did you forget? This guy just ran the division for 10 years.
Had the second longest title reign.
Yeah. So why would I want to change that? Like that movie, whether you win by a mile or win by an inch, the point is we get the W.
That's it.
And we'll make the adjustments along the way.
Okay. Well, if Ivan puts it all together and let's say he fights to his best, what do you think his ceiling is as a heavyweight? Is he either going to be like world champion, dominant world champion? What do you think he could be?
He absolutely is. At the very least, he should be a championship contender.
Yeah.
He absolutely has the skills and the ability and the want. Like I said, he wants to do it. He trains hard. Right now you hear him on the back.
I've been watching him.
And you're watching, yeah. I don't have to watch him. Some guys you have to watch him.
Yeah.
I can hear it just from the rhythm of the back. He hasn't stopped hitting that with any kind of vigor.
Yeah.
If some guys you turn around and they're just that, and they're trying to take the time off, or coach isn't bothering. He's busy with an interview. He's not watching. So let me That's not him. I don't have to worry about that. We have a good relationship, but I tell you what, if I wasn't here, he'd be training anyways.
Just as hard.
He's just going to train, with or without me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he seems like he has the right intangibles to be a great fighter as long as he continues that. Probably.
Yeah, like I said, our relationship is still growing, but I'm growing to like him more and more, just as a person.
Yeah.
First of all, and then because I understand that he's sincere about wanting to learn and to achieve his goal. He understands the business. He understands that business is at times unsavory. It's not favorable to fighters. We know that's historically. But he always tells me, and he makes me laugh, because sometimes I'll get upset and say to me, coach, I'll get upset. There's two other guys, we're upset because the two other guys, he goes, that's business. That's your business. Don't get so mad. We just got to keep doing our work.
Okay. Ivan Disco, wise guy. I like. It's good that I'm learning about him because sometimes Ivan don't have the best. Is his English improving at all?
Yes, he's trying.
Okay.
And now he'll talk to me in English, and then if he doesn't know for sure,
yeah,
he'll write it. He won't have the translator say it. He'll write it and he'll read it out. He can actually read it out better than he can say it sometimes.
Yeah.
And so he'll read it out and he'll say something like that. So he's making a real effort himself, and I'm glad, because not for nothing, so we have a translator to your life, which is one of his co-founders, translator. And if I ever needed something and I can call somebody, he would tell him, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I also have another fighter, a young junior welterweight who speaks the same language, they speak Russian, and sometimes. But I'm glad that he's wanting to take the initiative to say. One time I said, hey, I need to learn.
You said what?
I said, I need to learn Russian.
Oh,
okay. I said, what for? And I said, no, because so that way I can. He goes, no, I need to learn English. We're working here. I need to learn English so that we can
I like that. Okay, well, it's good that you tell me these things because I've interviewed Ivan a couple of times. You know, that the language barrier, it kind of, you don't really get to know who he is as much because of the language barrier.
He at first look, he's an intimidating guy, kind of looks at his shoes. He's actually a very funny guy.
Yeah.
And I got to learn that. Like, he's humorous. He's very humorous. The problem is he cannot express it so well because we wouldn't understand it in English. And at times I've actually seen him get frustrated because he wanted to say something funny or he saw something funny and he's trying to express it out. You know, and that's good. You know,
we'll get it out of him. We'll get it out of him.
It's a good nature.
Okay. Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. What do you think about that fight? You know, it's a big one coming up.
Man, honestly, years ago I would have told you Manny Pacquiao for sure. I know what they're thinking because of the Keith Thurman fight, the last fight. They're thinking, well,
yeah.
But Keith Thurman was out for 2 years. The Keith Thurman that fought Danny Garcia was just stay to the outside, boxing, didn't take any chances. I don't see how the Manny Pacquiao today beats that guy. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because his range was so perfect at the time. He didn't let Danny Garcia get close enough to do anything, you know? And even though there's a lot of fans who go, oh, that was a terrible fight. We didn't like the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of engagement.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do. Fans say that, I get it, but fans are kind of bloodthirsty too.
Yeah,
fans don't realize that the promoter, nor the manager, nor the fans send an extra check to the guy who loses because he went out there trying to please you.
Yeah.
You know, in the entertainment side.
They're not paying his medical bills if he gets hurt either.
Right. Give Manny Pacquiao. If Keith Thurman doesn't have a good performance, Manny Pacquiao wins. Manny Pacquiao, as we all know, is jab, jab, left hand. Jab, jab, left hand. And even though he used to have a good right hook, that right hook is not the same anymore. I'll say this, if he wins, beats Keith Thurman, right into the sunset, that would be a great win for him. He's already a Hall of Famer, but you could just take him to get the picture now because they're going to put him in there later.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and go home and lead your people, be a senator or whatever. I like Manny Pacquiao. I don't want him to leave the game in a bad way. I don't like any fighter that I feel like was likable, like, you know, really to leave the game in a bad way.
Yeah. Or an all-time great, like.
Yeah, and I just feel like if you can get past Keith Thurman, let's leave it at that.
It's a great way to go out.
That's a great way to go out. Keith Thurman is a obviously legit fighter.
Undefeated.
Legit, you know, yeah, legit was champ, you know. Leave it alone. Let the young bucks go at it now. Let the Earl Spencers of the world, you know, battle it out. And, you know, people say, well, how come Manny Pacquiao? Why would he fight Earl Spence? Somebody tell me. Why would that make? I mean, I know what you're gonna say. Everybody's gonna say for the money.
Yeah.
All right, but come on. What are the odds that he can do something, you know, that is of that sort of competitive nature? I think sometimes people have to look at that too, because you can put two names in the ring, but if nothing happens in that fight, then everybody blew their money and it went away.
Everybody's mad.
Yeah. The Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight was marinated way too long.
Oh, it's horrible too. So
it was
bad.
marinated way too long. It would have. I'm not saying that Manny Pacquiao would have beat Floyd Mayweather. What I'm saying is, it would have been more competitive had it been 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
You know, there would have been more bounce to his step and everything. That said, Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest of all time, did what he had to do and defused the fight. And how many people put into that fight? And how entertaining was it? How many thousands was each ticket? And how many people spent money all over the sponsors and everything?
Pay-per-view was $100.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. That doesn't make it for a good fight.
Yeah.
You know, so that doesn't necessarily make for a good fight.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just hope he kind of does what he has to do for that and
just rides it out.
And rides it out and, you know, does politics or whatever he wants to do. Maybe he doesn't need politics. It's kind of sad too when you see a fighter that, you know, there's all kinds of rumors and they say, well, oh, he needs to because somebody didn't pay, I don't know how much truth it is. Somebody that pays taxes, somebody
yeah.
didn't do, or in Manny Pacquiao's case, he's famously generous to his people. That's great. I just hope that Manny Pacquiao remembers that he risked his life for 20 some odd years. He needs to save some for himself and his family.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yes, hopefully he does do that.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to ask you about is this. A fighter I know you're very familiar with because he trained at Del Rey, Demetrius Boo Andrade. How do you feel like he matches up with the top middleweights like Canelo and Triple G?
We were just talking about that earlier, about Styles fight. You know, I know GGG's wanting Canelo, and Canelo has no interest in that, and he's wanting maybe Sergey Kovalev. And then people say, well, how come Andrade isn't a chance? To be honest with you, at this point where GG is at, and with, I don't know what Jonathan Banks can do to change the approach from coming just straight forward. I don't see how he doesn't get outboxed by Demetrius Andrade.
Yeah.
I mean, Demetrius Andrade is a young, really talented fighter. Yeah, I know some guys will say his boxing style is a little conservative. He's awkward, as his foot movement and all, but it works for him. It works for him, you know. If you can do something about it, punch him in the mouth and do something about it. You know, and I just don't see that at this point GGG can deal with that. So really the one who's kind of stuck is Andrade.
Yeah.
Because he's like, hey,
I'm here.
One of you top guys, give me the fight. Whether it's Jacobs, whether it's Canelo, whether it's Triple G, you know. And you kind of got to say, why doesn't he deserve the shot? What's the excuse behind it? That you don't like his boxing style?
Yeah, they say he's boring, he's this, he's that. Honestly, I personally think he's the most talented American fighter out there.
You have to appreciate, it's funny when you say that. Because I think that if you're supposed to be a fan of boxing, like I appreciate the guys who get in there in what we call the pocket and have the firefights or whatever. But I also appreciate the guys like Chris Algieri who's a pure boxer. He has skills, he can move, he can use all that stuff. Pure boxer. Okay, so maybe he's not a puncher, but he's a pure boxer. That's art. That's like ballet in the ring, you know? And the guys that can, like Andrade, who's very crafty, he's a sneaky, crafty fighter, awkward, can give you problems. That's skill. That's just not him being like, oh, he was just born awkward and he can punch you at these angles and do things that other people can't do.
No.
You know? He can do things other people can't do. That's a skill.
And that's years of pedigree in the amateurs.
Thank you.
In the amateurs.
So you have to understand that him and his team are working very hard at that. You know, so why should he change it?
So do you think you'd be Canelo if you fought Canelo?
That's a tough fight. I don't know. That's a tough fight. It's a really tough fight. I know Demetrius personally, but keeping it real, it's a tough fight because Canelo has developed, because he didn't have it, and developed like a really great sense, just a sense about him. You know, it's a defensive sense that he didn't have till maybe like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But like he can just, he's matrixing it out there. He looks like he's in the Matrix. He's, you know, and 2 years ago he didn't have that. So, you know, he's really going through a good moment. He's got speed. He's got power. He can fight inside and outside. Demetrius is also a champion, so you have to say, yeah, you know, he has a chance. He has a chance. That's just the most difficult guy in the division probably to have to deal with all his different, you know, aspects.
Yeah.
They asked me, well, what about Sergey? You know, fighting Canelo, and I said, well, okay, we all know Sergey's long, and Sergey can punch, right? Still harder than Canelo, but speed kills. And that head movement kills. And he comes in there with that head movement and that speed and starts hitting Kovalev with a couple body shots and boom, 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 boom. And he's hard to hit back. That's why I said for Sergey, that fight didn't make sense unless they backed up the Brinks stroke. Because guess what? It's a lose-lose for him. If he wins, people are going to say you were a light heavyweight fighting a middleweight.
Yeah, yeah.
If he loses, they're going to say you lost to the little guy.
Yeah, you were trash.
And I really do feel that this combination of speed, head movement, and power would give a fighter, any bigger fighter, who's just good at length or whatever, as great as Sergey, you know, could be as a champion in his time, it could give him a lot of problems. So I wouldn't be surprised at all that Canelo would do well. We have the 118 prospect.
Lawrence.
We often have him spar bigger guys, and he gives them all kinds of problems because of the speed. They can't keep up with it. It's not the rhythm that they can keep up with. They'll do well against a 140-pounder, but when you got somebody who can move as fast as he can and he can punch a little, you know, they can punch through with that, he got snap with it, then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, this is all of this is coming at me.
Yeah.
And I think that could be what you see in that fight if that was to happen.
It's funny too because for those same reasons, that's why I think he'd beat Caleb Smith. He fought Caleb Smith.
Yeah.
Caleb Smith's kind of he's strong and sturdy, but like he's kind of like straight up and down, long and.
I like Caleb Smith though. Like he comes to fight.
He's pretty good.
He comes to fight. And I remember once saying to myself, hey, that kid's now I'm sure they're gonna bring him over to the United States and start fighting people. That's gonna be a tough out. That kid's gonna be a tough out. I think he's a legit fighter. Like you said, he's long, he's tall, he's long, but he puts the punches together. You know, like Sergey once did.
Okay. All right. Well, there any message to the boxing fans about what you guys are going on here at the Boca Pal and DS Boxing?
Well, we have a couple fighters that are be fighting in the pro first. Ivan Vishko. Then we have Maureen Shea. She'll be fighting in August. She's former two-time women's champion. She's back now. She had an injury. She's back now. We have Dominique Francis, a kid that I like very much. He's a baby. He's 18 years old.
Okay.
122 pounder. I think he has a lot of promise in his future. He's 2-0. He'll be fighting shortly. We have another kid who's kind of like diamond in the rough, slipped through the cracks from Latvia, Arthur Armentos.
Who?
At 140 pounds. Arthur Armentos at 140 pounds.
Is that him over there? Who's the kid over there?
No, he's not here.
Oh.
I would take my chances with him against a lot of guys. He only has 2 fights, but we can fast track him a little bit. And he picked up body punching. And
Learns
speed.
quickly on the job.
He picked up quickly. Luis Harris. I have Luis Harris now. Luis Harris will be fighting under the top ranked banner in Ireland, August 3rd.
Who's his opponent? Do you know?
The last name is Keeler.
What's his name?
Keeler.
Keeler?
Keeler. I believe his record is 17-1.
Shit.
I cannot remember his first name, but he looks like a tough, rugged kid from Ireland.
Yeah.
And we'll be on the Conlon project.
Conlon, okay.
Yeah. So that's what we got. Oh, and Daniel Yelesnov.
He's a beast.
Yeah, the gold medal winner 2016. He'll be fighting in Dallas.
On the Hooker? Hooker Ramirez?
Hooker, yeah, he's signed with Matthew. So that's what we got coming up right now. You know, and we'll just keep working, man. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do, man.
I'm blessed to not only have fighters that have good attitudes, but just want an opportunity. You know, you get an opportunity, that's all you can ask for. You know, you're staying busy, and that's a blessing. You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, Derik Santos, pleasure as always talking to True School Sports. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much.